Today on New England Living, we're exploring the finer things our great region has to offer, with a look at some historic local institutions. From a centuries-old library in Rhode Island boasting a rare and distinguished collection of books and artifacts, to one of the oldest surviving piano manufacturers from the instrument's golden age. Plus, we welcome a renowned local chef and Mayflower descendant to our kitchen for a lesson in creating a sophisticated yet simple restaurant-quality meal at home. It all starts right now on New England Living. New England is full of adventure.
Up and away.
Wow, you just did your first takeoff.
You're part of my dream day right now. Join me as we discover the people and places that make us so unique.
This is it. You can't find it anywhere else in North America.
I mean, does it get any better than this? Love the place you call home with New England Living. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. I'm your host, Rachel Holt. Coming up next, for nearly 2 centuries, the Providence Athenaeum has served as a living history for the city and its surroundings. Now it serves an even broader audience, thanks in part to the library's Director of Engagement, Robin Wetherill. We're here at the Providence Athenaeum, and this place is really incredible, but let's start with that word, Athenaeum. First off, what does that mean?
It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
No one knows how to say it, no one knows how to spell it. But that's because it is an ancient word. It comes from Greek and Latin, and it means a place of wisdom and knowledge. The first Athenaeum was built by Emperor Hadrian in Rome, and today it means a place where people can come together and access materials, access information, and be with each other.
Okay, so it is a library, but it goes a little bit beyond that and is more of a place for the community.
We're an odd institution. We're a 19th century relic. So we're part library, we're part museum, we're part time capsule, we're part cultural center, we're part wedding venue. We really do it all. Back in the early 19th century, in the 18th century, libraries were at universities or in private hands. And so if you're a regular person who just wants to read a book, where are you gonna get it? You probably can't afford a copy. You're not gonna maintain your own personal collection. So the founding citizens of Providence came together and said, we need to pool our resources to create a collection that will help lift up the citizens of this city. And that's what they did.
And how unique is it to find an Athenaeum still operating today?
The member-supported library model has fallen out of favor as the public library system have taken over the world, which is fabulous, but there are still some of us that exist. There's a dozen or so of us left who still have members and still maintain these collections while being separate from public library systems.
Wow, that's incredible. It just gives you a sense of how rare this is and really special for people to come in. And anyone can come in here, you don't have to be a member?
Oh, anyone can come in at any point. In order to take books out of the building, you need to be a member, but to come in, spend an afternoon in the collection, soak up the ambiance, peruse some books, anyone is welcome.
Let's talk about the collections. How many books are we working with here?
The number always changes as we get new materials, but we have about 175,000 volumes in the building right now. Our oldest book is an illuminated breviary, an illustrated prayer book from the 15th century, and our newest book was probably released today. So we have centuries of materials here.
As part of the extensive collection of books here, there's a section of rare books. What can we find in there?
We're very lucky to have a rare book room here. Those materials are some of the most precious and valuable in our collection, and they're regularly exhibited. So if visitors come in, they can see some of them on view outside the Philbrook Rare Book Room. Some of my favorites from that space are first editions like Leaves of Grass or Moby Dick that were purchased at the time they were published for our members to read, and they checked them out a lot, so they may not be in the best shape, but they're special because they're our first editions that we bought when they were written.
And it's not just books here. There's a lot of artwork. What are some of the highlights?
So when visitors first walk in the space, they're met with one of my favorite collections of artwork, which is our busts. So if you look up on the mezzanine, there are 16 busts. Some of them were donated to the library in the mid-19th century, and some of them were installed just a couple years ago. They're figures that range from Socrates to Franklin to Shakespeare to Frederick Douglass, and they're an incredible 19th century homage to the leading intellectuals whose work and whose principles helped inspire this institution.
There's a painting here, The Hours, and it's over 200 years old, And it's been stolen, I understand, a couple of times.
And thankfully recovered. It hangs right above the circulation desk, so when visitors come in, they can visit the mezzanine and take a look. It is an ivory miniature, so it's this beautiful small painting that depicts past, present, and future as young women. It was painted on ivory by a Newport, Rhode Island artist, Edward Malbone, in 1801, and it's inspired generations of our membership. We've even had members dress up as the painting.
This card catalog behind us, there's a lot of history here as well, and great handwriting. It's not the digitized card catalogs that we're used to today.
Yeah. So we have an online catalog, of course, but our physical card catalog is one of the treasures of the institution. So before computers, how do you find one book in 175,000? We are very lucky that ours is from 1883. The library hired our first female employee to handwrite the cards. So if you flip through and visitors are welcome, you can see her original handwriting from the 19th century.
Obviously, the past is so important here, but it feels really fresh and modern when you're in here. How are you keeping things current for the public and your members now?
So as we maintain our physical space, we're constantly bringing in new materials. We also have a lot of programming. So we've welcomed incredible leading speakers, humanists, writers, people engaged in the humanities. We have book groups for our members that bring in dozens and dozens of people every week to read and discuss together. And we're lucky enough to be supported by almost 3,000 members. With their membership, they gain access to checking books out, but they're also able to attend our programs, join a reading group, visit other institutions nearby. So there's lots of benefits to being involved here, even just for the day, but also as members.
What is the mission here as you keep the Athenaeum operating in current day?
Our mission today is to engage the mind, inspire the spirit, and elevate the public discourse, which is a pretty heavy obligation, but one that we are happy to undertake. We want to take the past and help inform the present. We want to make sure that we are reading, we're thinking, we're learning, we're discovering, we're questioning, so that our members and the people who visit us leave the building a little bit more inspired than when they walked in.
Such a surreal feeling that you can do all this in a place that Edgar Allan Poe once went to.
He did. That is one of our favorite stories of our history. In 1848, Poe was in Providence to do a speaking tour, but also to court Sarah Helen Whitman, who was a Providence poet who lived just down the street. They actually got engaged in Providence in a local cemetery, which is so Poe, and they would go on dates here in the library. And sadly, they actually broke up in our building.
Oh no.
Poe died less than a year later in Baltimore under mysterious circumstances.
I didn't see a special breakup section.
Yeah.
No ropes around it.
I wish we knew exactly where it was, the little shrine. But it's a fabulous story. And one other Poe element, which I really love, is that he checked out a book from our collection. So when he was visiting here, he used the membership of one of our members to check out a book. And we still have his signature where he checked it out in the charging book and the actual book that he took back with him to his hotel room, which is so cool.
It really gives you a sense of how long this has been around and serving the community here.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and you think of Poe as a tourist too, right? And like when you come to a city, what do? You visit the library, and that's exactly what he did.
This is a really impressive building from the outside, and it doesn't look like your average library. Do you get the sense that people don't know they can come in here and this is for the public?
I think there is a little bit of that. Our building is designed in the Greek Revival style, so it looks just like a temple, if you imagine like an ancient Greek temple. So I think some people are a little intimidated. What is this giant stone building that doesn't have any windows on the front? But once you make it up those granite steps and you emerge into the main space, it is a world of books. And we often get little kids say, oh my gosh, it's Beauty and the Beast, it's Harry Potter. And so I think when you get past that sort of granite stone exterior, there's an incredible warmth inside.
It really has the feel of a hidden gem once you're inside.
We hope less hidden every day, but I do think that's part of the Athenaeum's charm. Don't judge a book by its cover, right? So when you peel back that sort of severe exterior, you get something truly magical.
Coming up after the break, we're visiting another local institution with historic roots, this time in the music industry, when New England Living returns after this. Welcome back to New England Living. I'm Rachel Holt. Renowned across the music industry for its distinctive sound and look, Mason & Hamlin has been manufacturing some of the world's most recognized pianos right here in Massachusetts. Up next, we're heading to Haverhill to discover the secret to their success with creative director Nathan Mabanglo-Burgett. You're carrying on a very rich tradition of piano building here in the US and specifically Massachusetts. This business goes back over 170 years, right?
Yeah, it's been 171 years as of 2025, and it's been a really rich history.
How did it all start?
It started with two idealists, Henry Mason and Emmons Hamlin, two people with very unique backgrounds, one more on the music side and then one more on the mechanic inventor side. Together, they wanted to build world-class instruments.
The mission from the beginning has always been to make the world's finest pianos. Now, that's a tall task. How do you even go about that?
It starts off with using the best materials as possible, really great craftsmanship, but also being very innovative, trying out a lot of new things, testing, and really connecting with the pianists.
This used to be a big booming industry. Now you're one of two manufacturers currently still active in the United States. Why is this something that you want to preserve and is really important to this business?
Mason Hamlin has such a rich history in the piano world. It was part of one of the main manufacturers during the golden age of piano building. What people sometimes don't know is that the modern piano that we know today was really constructed in Boston, Massachusetts. That's where the innovations really came about. And so to have Mason Hamlin go bankrupt and not be brought back would be a huge loss to the piano world. It was a huge endeavor to invest in Mason Hamlin, to rebuild the factory from the ground up, but it was one that was worth it.
All of this work going into making what you want to be the world's finest piano, what separates a Mason & Hamlin piano from the rest?
Yeah, there's probably two major features. One is the sound. The sound of our pianos are really what we like to call the American piano sound. And it's a sound that's very lush, it's very resonant, and it's characterized by three kind of core principles. One is the bass. It's this deep growling bass to it. The other section is the warm lyrical tenor. And then finally, it's the high end. It's a bell-like treble in the high end of the piano.
What are some of those ways that you're taking this piano into the modern age?
Big one is the piano action. The action is the translator between the pianist and the musical instrument. And typically a piano action was made from wood back in the 1900s. But today, we're one of the only companies that are creating a fully composite action. And so this is something that creates more consistency, better tone and volume in the piano, and kind of alleviates any big frustrations that an action can have.
This is your working factory in Haverhill. It spans 6 floors. There's a lot of action going on. What is the process of making these pianos?
The process kind of happens from the basement floor all the way up to the 6th floor. The basement floor is really where we're making the foundation point for the piano. It's the rim, and everything else gets built upon that rim. To build the rim, it starts with using the right materials. It's all hard rock maple that's created into small plies of it that are built up on top of each other, glued together, and then bent into the shape of the piano. The first floor is where we're doing all of our woodworking. It's the milling of the piano where we're making kind of all the inner components, all the small pieces you need to make the piano, and also the case parts, what you see on the outside of a piano. As it moves up to the 2nd floor, this is where we're installing one of our most unique parts of our piano. It's the tension resonator. It's what locks together the entirety of the piano so it doesn't change over time. And this really preserves the sound of that piano so it keeps its original tone from day one to 50 years into the future. It's what separates our piano from every other piano. Moving up to the 3rd floor is where we start to install the soundboard of the piano. And the soundboard is really the heart of the instrument. On these floors, we're also doing some of the most important hand craftsmanship. This is where we need to hand notch the bridge of the piano. This is a precise craftsmanship roll that takes multiple years to learn and many more years to master. On this floor, we're also stringing the piano. This is where we've inlaid the plate of the piano, and now we're starting to hand string up the piano, one string at a time. Next floor, which is where we install the action of the piano. It's really what allows the pianist to delicately translate any of the nuances that they have in the performance to the piano itself.
And after 5 floors of hard work, we're here on the 6th floor where we can see the finished product. And one of these pianos, it can take up to a year to make, right? So how many pianos are you producing in a week here?
Yeah, we're really a boutique piano maker. We're only making pianos in small batches from around 50 to 100 per year.
Given that you are spending so much time hand making and handcrafting, how does that affect the sound of one of these fine pianos?
Yeah, the piano is really a living instrument with all the natural wood, with all of the hand craftsmanship that goes into it. Every piano has that unique Mason Hamlin sound, but because it's a handmade instrument, each piano has a little unique character to it. They all have unique finishes to them, from polish to satin. Some of them have very exotic wood veneers, from limba to babinga to white sapelli. They really are a work of art.
Something fun is you invite the public in here to see what you do, up close and personal.
Yeah, we like to give tours every Wednesday, but also have custom dates if you can't make a Wednesday. But you get to see how a piano is built from start to finish.
Taking this piano company that originated in Boston over 170 years ago, now into the next generation, what's important to you about that?
It's really important taking what made the company so amazing in the past and moving forward into the 21st century. It's about preserving the quality of materials, the craftsmanship, and the innovative spirit of the company, and never resting on what we had in the past, but always moving forward.
Coming up right after the break, from one historic legacy to another, we'll head to our test kitchen with a chef who is a direct descendant of the Mayflower, when New England Living returns. Welcome back to New England Living. Having grown up on his family farm before joining the culinary world, Chef Will Gilson epitomizes farm-to-table cooking. He joins us now in the test kitchen for a lesson on how to make a restaurant-quality rotisserie chicken at home. Chef and restaurateur Will Gilson is a 2-time James Beard Award nominee and owns multiple restaurants across the Boston area. A born and bred New Englander and descendant of the Pilgrims, Chef Gilson grew up on his family's farm in Groton, setting his foundation for farm-fresh produce and local seasonal ingredients. We're here at the Clark Sub-Zero and Wolf showroom, and I am joined by Chef Will Gilson. And Will, you're showing us how to elevate a chicken dish today. What are you making?
Yeah, so we have our most recent restaurant in our group that we opened up is called Amba, and it is a Mediterranean-inspired rotisserie chicken restaurant. The problem is, unless you're coming to the restaurant, it's really hard to make rotisserie chicken at home. So
okay, you're going to make it a little more simple for us.
Yeah.
What's the first step here?
So the first step is spatchcocking. Now, spatchcocking does sound like a British insult, but spatchcocking itself really just means that you're taking the backbone of a chicken out, flattening it out, and then you get to bake the whole thing in the oven with all the skin facing up, so you get maximum crispiness on the skin, and you also get a chance to make sure that it cooks faster and more even, all right?
Now, you're the partner at Cambridge Street Hospitality Group, and you can find this dish in your latest restaurant, Amba. Tell us about that new concept.
Yeah, so we really wanted to have something that was kind of fast casual, but at the same time, it was dynamic and different. And so it was a counter service restaurant where you've got these awesome pita sandwiches that are filled with falafel, chicken shawarma, but I really always wanted a rotisserie chicken restaurant, so this is our way to do it.
There you go.
So the first step here is taking the backbone of the chicken out. And then, as you can see, the whole chicken is opened up here, all right? So what we do is we flip it around like this, we stick our hands underneath, and we just go, and we flatten it down.
There's the sound.
There's the sound, right? And so now we've got everything here all together, nice and tight, all right? Now, I grew up on an herb farm, so every chance I have to be able to put herbs into a dish, I do. So whenever you're cooking chicken, I always say the hard herbs, so thyme, rosemary, sage, things like that. They're a little woodier. They stand up a little bit more through cooking. They hold their oils. So here we go. We're gonna put those on there. We're gonna transfer our chicken, put it on top of the thyme, right? And then we're gonna add some salt. We're gonna take we call this our shawarma spice from Amba. I can't tell you what's in it, but it's whole spices that we toast and then we grind. And this is what flavors our rotisserie chicken, gives it that signature flavor, and it's also what we put on all of the chicken that we turn into the shawarma for our pita sandwiches there.
Whatever this secret blend is, it's smelling amazing.
It's pretty awesome.
Yes.
All right, so now that we've got this chicken all seasoned, we're gonna put this into a preheated oven around 400, 425, depending on your oven. It's gonna go for an hour, and then that's when it's gonna be nice and perfect inside.
Ooh, that sounds amazing.
All right, throw this in.
Now, Will, while that's cooking, you grew up on a farm in New England, so how does that influence your cooking as a chef?
Just like this. So I like to, like I said, put fresh herbs into just about everything I make, but it also kind of teaches you to slow down and really respect the seasons, because it takes so much to be able to grow produce in Massachusetts. If you want to cook with New England produce, you really have a small window. It's like 5 months at best.
Giving new meaning to farm to table, you know it through and through.
Exactly, exactly. I always used to joke that it's not farm to table. We just have a farm and we have tables. You can figure out how the rest of it goes.
Simplify it. Now, how did you get into this?
So I got into this working for my parents at their farmers market stand up in City Hall Plaza in Boston. And then I met a chef there named Chuck Dregge, who I think has been on this show before.
We've had him on.
Yeah.
Green crab bisque, delicious.
Yeah, so Chuck Dregge was working at a restaurant called Marcuccio's then, and he said, why don't you come down for a night and see how you like it? And I said, okay. And so I went there, I was 15 years old, and that was like when the camera lens just kind of like comes into focus, and I was like, this is what I want to do. I didn't realize it was the hardest job that there is other than being a farmer, which is what my parents were, but it is also a really great way to get in touch with learning how to cook and being able to turn these thoughts into running restaurants.
It seems like it worked out for you, and everyone who likes to eat here in Massachusetts, we all thank you for that, yes.
Doing my part, doing my part.
Now, you're hard at work over here
Yep.
preparing the sauce. What goes into this?
So this sauce is called Zug. So this is basically a sauce that has tons of fresh herbs, chilies, lemon, garlic, and olive oil. So we just picked some parsley here, a little bit of dill, some cilantro. We've got these red Fresno peppers, which are kind of like jalapeno peppers, but they're just red. We've got some fresh lemons, which we could just zest up, and then we've got some garlic here as well. So all that is gonna get chopped up and mixed in there, and then when it's done, we have this beautiful sauce right here. You can smell it, right? This is just an essence of fresh herbs and chilies and garlic. It's just gonna give the zing to the top of that chicken that it needs. Now that we've got our sauce done, we're gonna put this down. I think our chicken's ready to take it out of the oven, all right?
Okay, yum.
Let's go. Look at that. Beautiful rotisserie style chicken, done spatchcock style at home.
This looks absolutely amazing. What's the plating secret here?
Yeah, so right now we're gonna take a couple pairs of tongs. We're gonna lift it off nice and carefully onto our platter. So this way we just wanna make sure we can not have it fall apart. Here we are.
And I have to say, you made this look pretty easy.
That's the job, you know? Listen, if we're here, helping people figure out how to be comfortable in the kitchen, we wanna make sure that we make it easy for them, all right? So now the final things that go into the Amba chicken here, we have some dried rose petals, all right? Now you might think that this is gonna be a little too strong, but this is just gonna add a nice bit of aromatics to that. And then that sauce that we made is just gonna go right on top of the chicken here.
I love that gorgeous green color there, brighten it up.
Fresh herbs, keeping the dish nice and bright. And listen, you can even hear the skin. Look at that, all crispy
Nice
and
little
crackly.
crisp.
That's what everybody wants. So.
I cannot wait to try this. Make sure you check out Amba, and for more cooking segments, head to our website, newenglandliving.tv. Wow, look at this. Thank you so much.
Of course, thanks for having me.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us today on New England Living. For more on the show or anything you've seen here today, visit us at newenglandliving.tv and follow us on social media. I'm Rachel Holt. See you next time on New England Living.